of this IMS Internal Auditor session, right? So we'll be continuing today with the clause number 9 and 10 for 14,000 and 45,001, right? And then after we'll have a small exercise on these two clauses, and then we will have a discussion on the auditing aspects, right? So, continuing with the clause number 9, performance evaluation. Now, here, if you could see, the only difference as compared to 9001, right, is concerned, right? So, here we only have evaluation of compliance as the additional clause. Otherwise, all other requirements are as similar to 9001 2015. So, when I say monitoring, measurement, analysis and evaluation, so it is again your monitoring of KPIs, right? Now here, in context of your environment management system and your 45,001, which is occupational health and safety management system, the KPIs could be like your the HERA effectiveness, right? Evaluation, aspect impact, your effectiveness, mock drills, plan versus actual, legal register review, calibration plan versus actual. Now, if you see in 9001, we have a separate clause, right, for the calibration, and in ITF we have separate clause for calibration and MSA studies. Okay. So in IATF we have separate clause for calibration and MSA studies, and in ISO 9001 we have a separate clause for calibration. But as far as ISO 14001 and 45001 is concerned, the calibration related activities are to be ensured, right? I mean the 9.1 clause will basically provide you the requirement for this will address the requirement for this particular calibration and calibration verification related activities. So any instruments or equipments which you will be using for the monitoring and measurement of your environment management system related parameters, like for example air, right, noise, okay, or if you are using this for lux monitoring, let us say for example, right? So all those instruments which will be used in EMS and OHMS system shall be calibrated, right, or verified, either or, right? So this is what is given as an addition to what 9001 says, apart from monitoring, measurement, analysis, and your evaluation clause is concerned. So I'll just keep these slides of IATF and 9001, right? So here again, as I've told you, it is like requirement is similar to 9001. When you define a KPI, right, what is your KPI? When are you going to evaluate your KPI? When are you going to monitor, right? What will be the frequency of monitoring? What will be the method of monitoring, right? When those results shall be reviewed, right? What is the criteria, right? So all these factors, if are not defined, right, you like as an auditor, you have to give an NC under this particular clause 9.1.1, right? This is very, very, very important clause as far as the performance evaluation is concerned. So if any of these factors are missing from the KPIs, right, there will be an NC under this clause 9.1.1. Right. So here, like as what I've briefed you, calibration or like verification, right? So this is a part of this particular clause 9.1.1. This is applicable for both ISO 14001 as well as ISO 45001, right? So you have to ensure all those instruments which will be used by an organization for EMS or OHSMS. You should have, you should verify the calibration or the verification certificate. Okay? Right, so same requirements, no change in 45001 as well, right? So this 9.1.2, this is your 9001 requirement, so I'll just keep this, because in 9001 they don't have this customer satisfaction requirement, right? 14,001 and 45,001 they don't have this requirement of Rating customer satisfaction. Yes. So this is evaluation of compliance, right, which is new as compared to 9001, but it has got a linkage with your legal requirements, which we have seen in clause number 6.1.3. Right now, how is it linked with that particular clause? We have discussed that you have to identify legal requirements, right, based on the scope of your organization's products, processes, services, and activities. So when you identify the legal requirement, right, what this particular clause says, you have to evaluate, right? When I say evaluate, what does that mean? If you see this second bullet point, it says that you have to determine the frequency, right? When are you going to review that particular legal requirement, right? If there is a gap, right, in implementing or identifying the requirements, what actions you are going to take if required, right? And you have to maintain the knowledge and understanding of its compliance state. It means that you have to keep yourself upgraded with the latest laws and acts and the legal and statutory requirements which are there, which are applicable for your organization. And this all information shall be documented evidences, right? So you should have a record available with you with all the revision histories, right? What are the changes which have been happened in last 2-3 years? So this you have, this should be a documented information. So if any of these points are missing in the legal register, right, you have to give an NC against clause number 9.1.2. Right, so this is applicable to 45,001 as well, the same requirement, right? Then we will discuss on internal audits, right, which is your clause number 9.2. Again, it is similar to 9001 requirement, but in ITF, as we have discussed, they have given the frequency, right, on for the system audit, process audit, and product audit. But 14,001, 45,001, there is no frequency given. What standard is saying that you have to conduct internal audits at planned intervals, right? Now, when I say planned intervals, so it does not mean that, let us say, for example, if you have defined that you will be conducting internal audits every quarter, okay? And in first quarter you have conducted an audit, and you have skipped in the second quarter, and you have conducted in the third quarter. It does so. This is not planned intervals. When you have defined quarterly, you have to conduct. You have to ensure the audits are conducted on a quarterly basis. If you are defining it on a yearly basis, you have to ensure that it is happening on a yearly basis, right? So this is what the planned intervals, like the standard is saying as an the intent. So you have to ensure this, right? Apart from this, when you are conducting an audit, right, as I have already briefed you, you need to define what is the scope of your audit, right? Who all will be the auditors who will be participating in this? What is the competency of your internal audits, right? What is the scope? What is the objective, right? At what frequency you will be conducting the audit, right? And when you are conducting the audit, it should be a risk-based audit. It is not as we have defined a planned interval, but if there is a risk in the system, like if there are number of entries are high, let us say in one of the quarter of, or there is a major complaint or major incident or accident taking place, then you need to review that particular what I would say, the situation, the instance, and then you need to, if required, you also need to change the audit intervals or audit frequency accordingly. Right, and all the records associated with the internal audits, right, be it your audit log, be it your non-conformities, be it your corrective action, be it your audit plan, be it your observation sheet, it could be list of internal auditors, right, it could be your audit check sheet, any document associated with the internal audits shall be maintained as a record. This is a shall requirement. Right, so same goes with 45,001 as well, right? No change. Only thing is, here we'll be conducting audit in context of your occupational health and safety management system, right? So this is in relation to 9.2.2, 9001. So I'll skip these slides. This is for IATF. I'll again skip these slides. Right. So this we have discussed. Right. And you have to ensure, the most important point here is that the results of the audits are to be reported to the top management, right, or to the relevant management. This is very important. And this particular what I would say, the responsibility will be with the person who will be identified by the top management, as we have seen in clause number 5.3. Right? The top management needs to identify a person who will be responsible for ensuring that your integrated management system is performing, and the report of your integrated management system is reported to the management. Right? So this is so this is linked with the clause number 5.3, right? And if you see the last bullet point, documented information must be retained, right, for the audit program and the audit results. So any information related to the audit, right, internal audit program shall be maintained as a documented evidence. Right, so here just for your information, like as we have the international standards like ISO standard, right, for like 14,001 is for environment management, 45 is for occupational health and system. In a similar way, for auditing, right, if you really want to upgrade your knowledge as far as auditing is concerned, you can refer ISO 19011-2018. So ISO 19011 is the standard which will provide you the guidelines on auditing management, right? So here you will get the complete details on like how to write an NC, right? How to prepare an audit plan, what are the etiquettes, what are the attributes of an auditor, what are the types of audits, like everything is given in detail in this particular standard. And the current edition for this 19011 standard is 2018, right? Earlier version was 2011, right? Now you can refer the latest edition, which is 2018. Right, so then we will be moving to clause number 9.3, which is your management review. So I will skip these slides for IATF. Okay. Yes. Now, in a so again, in this particular clause, the requirements are similar to 9001, right? Again, you have to conduct here the management review meetings at planned intervals, okay? And you have to consider all these inputs, right, as a part of your MRM agenda, right? If any of the point is missing from the MRM agenda, it will be an NC, right? Please ensure whosoever will be conducting an audit of management review process, right, has to ensure that all the points, right, mentioned in clause number 9 point, right, are addressed and are basically covered while conducting the management reviews. Okay. Now here, what additional point, the additional requirement as far as 45,001 is concerned, right, apart from all other your basic requirements, is that the output of your management review meeting, right, the relevant output of your management review meeting has to be communicated to the workers or to the interested parties, right? If you see this point number D, right, this is a new requirement. This was not there in earlier standard, OSHA 18,001, right? So, like for example, whatever the discussion taking place in MRM, and when you define an action plan, right, for continual improvements or for for improving the health and safety system of your organization, it could be based on your technological aspects, it could be based on your improving the competency level of the people working in the organization. So the necessary outcomes, right? It is not necessary that all the outcomes, right, all the review points are to be discussed, are to be informed to the workers or the interested party. It is all the necessary or the relevant points which are applicable to, right? This you can basically link with your clause number 5.4, which is consultation and participation, right? So where the consultation is important and participation is important, those points you can basically discuss or communicate to your interested parties or to the workers. This is the new entry in this particular standard. Okay. So if you refer the second last bullet point, the top management must communicate the relevant outputs of management reviews, okay, to its workers and where they exist, workers representative, okay. So this can be a part of your communication matrix as well, right? As who is going to communicate with whom, when, how, at what frequency, right? And the outcome of your MR shall be maintained as a documented information. So you should have a record of your MRMs with action plan, responsibilities and target dates. Okay? So this is clause number 9. If you have any doubts, any queries related to clause number 9, please raise your hands or please drop in your messages in the chat box. Yes, team, any questions, any doubts? Even if there are, okay, no doubts, Mangeshwar has no doubt. Anybody else? If you have no doubts, I will move to clause number 10. So I will request you all to please drop in, please drop in the message in the chat box. Okay, so I'll move on to clause number 10. So this is the last clause, right, which is your improvement. Okay. Now if you see here, again, this particular clause is similar to ISO 9001, right? We have non-conformity and corrective action, right? The only difference, right, is with the clause number 10.2 of ISO 45001, in which apart from non-conformity and corrective action, there is an incident investigation requirement, right, which is there in 10.2. So where you are investigating the incidents, right, the accidents, right, so that particular requirement is addressed in clause number 10.2, right. So if whenever you will be auditing the incident investigations or like near misses or the accidents reported, right, you basically have to ensure the requirements given in clause number 10.2 are implemented by the organization, and if any entries, if any observations or findings you have reported related to incident investigation, it will be an NC under clause number 10.2, right? Okay, so as a part of your improvement activities, what improvements can be planned for your ISO 14001 or your ISO 45001? Yes, anyone? Yes, Arvind sir, please unmute yourself. Arvind sir,
hello?
please unmute yourself. Yes, sir.
Can you go back to the previous?
10.1, sir?
Yes. See, we had an minor non-conformity in our last audit.
Okay. So in which clause?
Incident investigation.
Okay, okay. So that is the 10.2 basically.
10.2 will come in 10.2. Now the point is, can you explain an incident on just a minute? Correct. Determine implement any activity including corrective action according to the management. Now, as per our management control and KPIs, we are reporting near misses and accidents, right?
Okay.
We had reported a near miss. We had recorded in some format, but it was not as per the documented. This was one non-conformity which was very easy to understand. The problem came with trying to close that non-conformity. So, what?
So can you speak a bit louder? I could not hear you in between. Can you please repeat your question once again?
Yeah, my part is when we were closing that non-conformity,
Okay.
the auditor was asking us a revised process which we had to tailor 2-3 times to make him convinced that our system is already in place. Actually, the written system is already in place. What was happening is, the system was at some X level, the actions were taken at some Y level, and we were trying to justify that Y level actions could be equal to X level, which was actually not correct. But the entry was already in our hand.
Okay.
My suggestion to you is, suppose in a manufacturing organization, what I'm expecting from you is, in our manufacturing organization, what should be a very ideal process for incident reporting, preliminary investigation, secondary investigation, and permanent actions, etc. and preventive actions also. So you can just explore, elaborate a little bit on this, because this is something which all of us are actually concerned from management point of view and also from workers' safety point of view.
Okay. Look, sir, many of the companies, what they generally do when the incident investigation actually takes place, is they first report the first investigation report, right? Which is basically with the ones who have actually witnessed, right? So at a preliminary stage, first of all, the necessary information shall come from those who have actually witnessed the incident, right? And the FIR should be reported, right? And when the FIR is reported, when the actual detailed inspection or the investigation takes place, you should make the worker representative as a part of your investigation, which is also a requirement of your consultation, right? So when incident investigation actually takes place, the workers or the what I would say, the zone members or the zone representatives where the incident or accident has actually taken place shall be a part of the incident investigation. And when you plan for a corrective action for that particular incident, make them also accountable, make them a part of your team for actually defining an action plan, because they are the ones onto whom we have to basically build confidence, right? Because anyone who is affected by this, like most affected by the incident are the workers, right? And the worker representatives. So we have to basically take them under confidence. So as it is a shall requirement, right? So I mean, so it is not like you define an action plan and then you inform them that this so and so action has been taken. You should include them while defining an action plan, right? So this is what you basically do. And when you implement an action, right, basically while implementing action, you have to conduct an HERA, first of all, right? Because as we have discussed in change management, right, clause number 8.1.3, whenever you are planning any action, right, so that action could lead to any kind of change, right? It could be manpower change, it could be competency, sure upgradation, it could be resource, it could be equipment, it could be the infrastructure, equipment, the environment, it could be anything, right? So what you should do when you plan for any action, conduct a HERA study, evaluate the risk, right? Check whether because of the action which you are going to implement, will there be any negative impact on the health and safety, right? And if there is no negative impact, then go on implementing with those actions. Or like plan an action, okay, define an action, evaluate it, right, identify the risk and then implement. And check, the most important point here is when you implement an action, check the effectiveness of the action which have been implemented, and then even after implementing the actions, conduct the HERA study, right? Because it may happen like as in case of process FMEAs, right? When we do in manufacturing, right? We identify the potential causes, right? And when we actually validate those causes and when we actually implement those FMEAs, right? There could be like the occurrence level could change, right? Based on your effective control. So similarly, it may happen that in your particular HERA study for that particular zone, you may or may not have identified the particular hazard, right? But when you implement an action, right, it may happen that you may need to upgrade the HERA or you may need to evaluate the rankings which you have given, right? It may increase, it may decrease. But if it is increasing, right, then that action which you have planned is not justifiable. You need to plan for an action which is going to reduce your severity or occurrence or a risk level, basically. And after implementing the action plan, review the HERA and reassess the risk. Whether the action which you have planned has been actually implemented in a you really want it to be. So this is what should be the approach after the incident is reported, sir. All other like legal formalities and all, like they are there. I mean, that you cannot like bypass, right? So that will be there. But as a part of a system, this is what should be. So you basically should link your incident investigation with change management process also.
Okay, okay, got it. So what we will do, we will try to review our process once again. That's not an issue. So, thank you very much.
Just go through this clause, sir. I mean, 10.2, if you review, right? Review the existing assessment of OHS risk and other risks, which I have already briefed you, right? Determine and implement any action needed, including corrective action. Okay? And that corrective action should be, right, planned considering your hierarchy of controls, right? This also we have seen, right? In clause number your the 8.1, right? Where we have seen the elimination control, substitution control, engineering control, administration control, and the last would be coming in is your PPEs. But what we generally do, we basically jump into providing the PPE controls. We never evaluate whether the elimination control or a substitution control is possible or not for that particular hazard. So we have to basically work on prevention control. And if prevention is not at all possible, then go on implementing or identifying the detection control.
Okay, sir. Let's move forward.
Okay. Right. So this is clause number 0.2, right? And then we have last clause in this, which is continual improvement. So similarly, as discussed in 9001, right? I am not correlating it with IATF because in IATF we have the product and process requirements like a concept of your failure mode effect analysis, RPN, stability, capability will come into picture. But as far as ISO 9001 generic requirement is concerned, you should have a continual improvement plan available with you as an organization, and that particular plan as an auditor, right, you should basically review, right, what are the improvement projects organization have planned for that particular financial year for your 14,001 and 45,001. What is the current state, right? How many projects are open? How many projects are closed? What is the current state of the project, right? Are they running on time, right? Like for example, it could be your 5S, it could be Kaizens. When I say it could be like improving the controls on the suppliers or the outsourcing the agencies. It could be in terms of, it could be like your the environment management program or your safety programs could be there, right? It could be working on the hazard identification, risk assessment criteria or your aspect impact criteria. You can work on reducing the significant hazards or your significant the aspects. You can work on improving the competency, right, of your workers as far as environment and your health and safety management system is concerned, right? So basically you need to have a plan, right, and that you can have it, yeah. So basically what I was trying to tell you is you should plan a continual improvement programs, right? The continual improvement programs could be in the form of like a project, right? It could be 5 years project, could be Kaizen, right? It could be environment management programs. It could be safety programs, like for example, it could be celebrating safety week or like safety awards or safety slogans, right? You can improve the competency of your people. You can improve the controls on your suppliers. You can basically work on reducing the significant hazards, right? Work on reducing significant environmental aspects, right? Work on improving or like evaluating legal requirements. So there could be n number of your improvement projects which you can identify as far as 14,000 and 45,001 standard is concerned, right? So with this, I basically end up with the with all the clauses related to ISO 9001, IATA 16949, ISO 14001, and ISO 45001. If you have any doubts, any queries related to any of the standards, any of the clauses, please raise your hand or drop in your messages in the chat box.
Chị thấy đăng thì bao giờ vậy là mới báo thông tin được em. Đăng YouTube thì bao giờ vậy là mới hiện thông báo máy em. Được lâu rồi. Thế đó, vậy mới hiện ra. Lâu mới.
Yes, class, anyone, anybody, any question?
Mới, 14k đúng không? Mới, đâu, vừa đăng này. Vừa đăng đó.
Yes, Mangesh sir, Manoj sir, Mehersham sir, Milind sir, Pradeep sir, Praveen sir, any question?
Các bạn nào có nhu cầu học lại thì cứ vào đấy nhé. Ý chị là bảo hiểm tất cả từ cuộc sống con người đến công việc. Cái gì cũng bảo hiểm.
Okay, so now you have become 80 to 90% auditors as you have understood the requirements of the standard, right? The major hurdle in becoming an internal auditor is when you don't know the intent of the standard, right? So once you know the intent of the standard, it becomes very easy to conduct an audit. Because you know all the requirements, right? Yes, class, if you don't have any doubts, we will move on to the test on clause number 9 and 10. Shall I launch the test? If you don't have any question. Okay. Okay, so I am launching the test on clause number 9 and 10. Just give me a moment.
Cái ông Avin thì khéo phải bằng tuổi ông mình. Té này đi. Ấy, sao chị lơ này?
Yes, class, can you see? I hope it is displayed on your screen.
Công cụ.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Milind sir. So again, I will request all to please attend the test on clause number 9 and 10. Vikas sir, just wait for a few seconds. It will get displayed in some time.
Tại sao loại trừ máy carbon? Cái này đợi Hà trả lời.
Có hiệu chuẩn.
Hiệu chuẩn rồi.
Nghe có phải sai á. Các nhà vật ôm nhau để thử nghiệm, chẳng hạn như bộ dụng cụ đo dòng chảy ngược, máy đo vệ sinh carbon. Tất cả các máy đo ngoại trừ máy phát điện carbon đều được hiệu. Tất cả các máy đo ngoại trừ máy carbon đều được hiệu chuẩn vì cũng được sử dụng trong nhà.
Menu hướng dẫn vận hành của nhà sản xuất
Cho sai đi.
sai rồi.
Tiếp theo cô B là cái gì?
Sai à?
Nghe nó cứ ngang ngang ấy.
Ngoại trừ là chết rồi.
Ngang ngang tai.
Này có ai hy sinh không?
Các công ty ABC giám sát các chương trình về hiệu quả rủi ro hiện tại và tài liệu OHS không được xem xét hoặc sửa đổi. Vì ISO 450 yêu cầu bất kỳ quy trình nào, họ có bằng chứng về một chương trình gợi ý nhân viên đã giúp tiết kiệm chi phí, cải thiện chất lượng, giảm thời gian cho năm nay và năm ngoái họ có một lần suýt bỏ lỡ. Năm nay để thực hiện một hành động khắc phục.
Thế là chết rồi. Này, em gì rồi.
Vô vẩn.
Suýt phát là chết.
Đều là non conforming. Câu này cũng đang
Đấy chị.
Ôi em bấm rồi.
Rồi, 100% rồi.
Cả hai đều A đúng không?
Nhưng mà vẫn chưa hiểu câu 1 tại sao lại
Ngoại trừ phải tất chứ.
Tất.
cái nào chị cũng phải hiệu chuẩn, chị không bỏ cái nào cả.
Cô tôi cho một hai cái B rồi.
Thế thì anh lại ngáo ngơ quá, thế mời anh về nhà. Hai chị em đã hy sinh cho anh để chọn A rồi mà anh chọn B là thì mời anh về.
Anh quá lãng phí tình thương của mọi người.
Sự hy sinh của mọi người không phải là lãng phí đâu mà là nói về một cách văn thiện gọi là.
Thế tức là sau những cái bài test này là cuối buổi mình lại có test nữa.
Hôm nay chị vừa hỏi rồi đấy.
Lại test nữa.
Chị bảo có test hay không thì ông bảo là không test tách ra. Thế xong chị bảo thế thì không test ra thì lấy cái dữ liệu trước làm kết quả hay là như nào? Thì lại bảo lấy một phần thì chả hiểu.
Thế
Nói
bao
chung
giờ
cái
đi
ông
test chị? Bao giờ test?
Không phải là một phần mà từng phần chia.
không hiểu là cái ông này là như thế nào. Cái ông vì này ông trao đổi với chị tức lắm.
Ông ấy cũng bảo là trao đổi với cái lý là
Trao đổi với ông.
Ông ấy sẽ nói là danh con đấy. Mình thì nói là cái lão già đấy, nhưng mà ông ấy sẽ phải có danh con
Đấy
đấy.
như hôm trước.
Hôm đầu tiên mình nghe gì sao chết ra.
Đấy cái hôm đấy điền lắm.
Nhưng chúng anh chả chịu làm cái này.
Cecil sir, please unmute yourself and ask the question, sir.
Ông còn không biết là có cái đấy cơ. Thế xong một lúc sau hỏi đâu nó bảo có, ông mới gửi đấy chứ.
Thì chứng tỏ là mình
Cecil
không
sir,
đủ
can
đẳng
you
cấp.
hear me?
Nhưng mà phải điên lắm.
sao họ đi làm đến cao tuổi nhỉ?
Thì nghỉ hưu rồi, công ty mình toàn cái kiểu
Yes,
cua
sir.
quặng những cái ông
Xem
về
cái
hưu rồi
này
cho nó
xem.
rẻ ra.
Xem
Không biết mình xem ra được. Cốt đào.
Kiểm chi phí.
cô đào gì thuê mấy người gọi là toàn là gọi là chuyên gia.
Cecil sir, any
kiểu
question?
một
If
đắt
you
hơn.
don't have any question, I will provide an opportunity to other participants.
No
Nhà biết nêu
question.
ra tiền.
No question, sir.
Okay.
Bên tới
Okay.
giờ họ cũng ngồi nhà hết rồi.
Anh
Vishwanath sir, you have raised your hand. Any doubt?
Sir, actually I submitted that test. That's why I
I
raised it.
submit that but I not understand.
Okay.
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 Thank
Việt
you.
Nam team already submitted.
Yeah, so I would request those who have not yet submitted the test results now.
Anh sẽ phép
So please raise their hand.
Anh này.
Thì thầy có bực mình nó cứ ok vì thế. Cứ ok đấy.
Okay, Vikas sir is pending. Milind sir.
Thằng kia bay mới vào để làm hành trà này. San deep.
Cho gọi nhau.
Gọi
Thi
nhau.
rồi.
Có bài điều tra rồi.
Okay, submitted. Okay. Dheeraj sir submitted.
Anh có nguyên bài rồi hết rồi. Mọi nơi mất tiền phải. Already submitted.
Vietnam team, I hope you have submitted the results. Okay, Taj, thank you. Thank you for the
Cái thằng
information.
Sandeep với
Okay,
Vương
so
thì
I am closing the
Orion của bay là thấy
test
lép
now.
thôi.
Okay.
Thi thoảng phát vào ra luôn.
Anh em vào chỉ để thi thôi. Sandeep. Em vừa thấy Sandeep hết Orion, bây giờ Sandeep hết lép rồi.
Sandeep tăng về.
Okay, so I'm closing the test class.
Sao lại
Bọn này vào thi đi.
Đây Sandeep Saman.
không, nó viết là Sandeep cơ, không phải Sandeep này đâu. Sandeep nó ra rồi.
Okay, so 83%
Lép rồi.
I have shared the results with you all.
87%.
83% have answered the first question correctly and 90% have answered the second question correctly.
Link gì đấy? We can correct you.
Okay. So I'm hiding the results class.
Link.
Yeah. So before moving on to the first question. Yeah. Okay, Mansur. The wastewater treatment operators use various gauges for testing, such as backflow kits, sanitary gauges, carbon monoxide detectors, liquid level gauges, etc. All gauges except the carbon monoxide detectors are calibrated, right, as they are commonly used in homes to the manufacturer's recommended calibration method. The manufacturer's operating manuals are followed to ensure proper calibration. So this we have discussed in clause number 9.1.1 that any instruments, equipments or gauges which you will be using, right, for the testing purpose or for the sample collection related to environment, health and safety needs to be calibrated. Now here if you read the third line, all gauges except the carbon monoxide detectors are calibrated, right? So carbon monoxide detector is not calibrated. It is calibrated. So all gauges except the carbon monoxide detectors.
सर it says except 8 छूट गया कब होगा?
Except the carbon monoxide, sir. मतलब उन्होंने सारी गेजेस किए हैं, कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड डिटेक्टर को कैलिब्रेट नहीं किया. उन्होंने क्या लिखा है? Except the carbon monoxide detectors are calibrated to the manufacturer's. Hemant sir, your voice is cracking, sir. Can you speak a bit louder? I mean, I could not hear you clearly. Can you hear me now? Yes, sir. Please speak, sir. Sir, at what it is the carbon monoxide detectors are calibrated to the manufacturer of the system. I thought it is carbon monoxide is calibrated with the manufacturer's recommended standard. Sir, carbon monoxide is not calibrated even with the help of the manufacturer operating manual. So what they are doing, all other gauges, they are following the manufacturer's instructions to ensure proper calibration. But here the word except is where the non-conformity lies. All gauges except the carbon monoxide detectors are calibrated. My understanding was wrong. I understood.
Anh nói đến cái gì đấy? Mono là hóa trị 1 cho em.
Mono là trị 1, thế thì công thức của nó là C2O. Tại vì các môn hóa trị 2.
So you are again sounding low. Can you speak a bit louder so that I can hear you?
Nói về cái máy các con
I'm clear now. What I understood is others are calibrated with the NABL and calibrated with the
Em
manufacturer.
ngày xưa em cũng học rồi, mặc dù em chuyên Anh, chuyên toán văn Anh.
Okay, but this is not the case. What I mean, the case is that the organization is ensuring calibration, okay, for all other gauges except for carbon monoxide detectors, right? And that calibration they are conducting as per the manufacturer's operating instructions, right? So they are following the manufacturer's guidelines and are basically conducting the calibration. But for carbon monoxide detector, they are not even recommending and not even calibrating.
Ngày xưa Bây giờ
Thank you,
bây
sir.
giờ không hiểu gì mình.
Okay.
Từ giờ ngày xưa vẫn không biết
Okay,
gì.
thank you.
Không, ngày xưa
Okay,
em
sir.
làm được có bao nhiêu
Welcome, sir.
sheet?
My pleasure.
Ngày xưa Galit, đi làm
Yes,
Galit.
class. Anybody else who has any question?
No, sir. Chị Lý hỏi không?
Không. Hỏi đi.
Miss Lee have question.
Raise
No
your
question
hand.
related to any of the standards?
Minh Lý có
Any
rất
of
nhiều
the clause,
comment là
subclause?
slowly speak.
Nghe không hiểu gì.
Please
I'll
speak
move
slowly.
Nói chậm còn chả hiểu được, còn nói nhanh.
on to auditing then.
Nó ra khóa học này là khóa học internet audit trên tinh thần là sao? Audit thì
Quả ai
cái học thế nào nhỉ?
đấy chị sử dụng rất nhiều.
Nó là một phần nhỏ trong cái AITF đấy.
Thế thì nó phải đặt tên
Okay,
chính
so
là gì?
I'll move on with the auditing right now. What we are going to discuss in this particular, yes, Mangesh sir, any questions, sir? Please unmute yourself.
Không, tôi không có gì đâu.
Rồi kia hết giờ vặt hết điện buộc mình
Ở đây là việc chăm chỉ.
truyền thống thế này. Ngày xưa em
Mangesh
làm
sir,
bên
any
Nga,
question? You have raised your hand.
không thấy một ai động tĩnh gì cả.
No question, sir.
Thế
Okay.
thì mới gọi là truyền thống
Yeah.
đi.
So in auditing, what we are going to discuss is about like what is auditing. Okay. Then what is audit objective, what is audit scope, and what is audit criteria, right? What are the types of audits? Okay. What are the basic etiquettes or attributes an auditor should possess? Okay. What all things needs to be considered when we prepare an internal audit plan?